Hi everyone. So today we'll be learning about what is Git and how can we use it to enhance our development process. What roles does it play? What feature does it have? And how can we go about it? So basically, Git. First of all, we need to learn about what is Git. So Git is a version control system. And to explain you about the details, I have a PPT pulled up over here. And here we go. So, a version control system is a tool that lets you track the history and attribution of your project files over time, and which helps the developers in the team to work together. That is the main goal of the version control system to help project developers collaborate in such a manner that they can work together in a best possible manner without any fail. So modern vision control systems help them work simultaneously, that is correct, in a non-blocking way by giving each developer his or her own sandbox. What it means like every developer has the copy of their project and whatever changes he likes to make or whatever changes he like to ship to the project, he can or she can do at their own sandbox. Means they have a personal space allocated to them to which they can make changes and push the changes onto their GitHub repo, preventing their work in process from conflicting, and all the while providing a mechanism to merge changes and synchronize work. So that was a basic about a version control system. So whenever you are dealing with a project and let's say this is a big project you are working on car rental service portal. So you cannot build it alone, right? You must need three or four, maybe five developers, one for the front end, one for the back end, one for the design phase, and other one for maybe DevOps. So this is a teamwork. So Git, you can make use with GitHub. GitHub is a platform where you host your project files copies, and you can easily create a new GitHub repo by just going to github.com and create an account. My account is already created, so I will do a new repository. So the purpose of creating the new repository here is to give you an overview, like how the GitHub repository works with the Git, that is the version control system. So I will just do the repository name, and there's no need to provide a description here. And we'll create a repository here. I'm working on Mac. If you want to play with Git and you want to learn Git on the Windows, there's no the problem. You can easily type Git on Google, and you will get links for download for Windows, download for Mac, whichever version you are. You can easily download it from here. Windows in Windows Git Bash works best, and so yeah. In this video, we'll be focusing on practically how to use Git commands, how to actually push our changes from a local repository to a remote repository. Local repository means here that the files, the project files that you have on your system. And remote repository means something like this, a GitHub repository, which is online, which is already on GitHub, so that people can collaborate. So that was about a version control system. If we go forward through this project, you'll utilize like version control system is of many types. Git is one of the most popular ones. You have other ones like Medical, Subversion, or Monotone, but Git is pretty popular among the all the rest of the version control systems, and it mostly used by the developers all around the globe. What is Git? Git is a distributed version control system. Distributed means that there is no main server and all of the full history of the project is available once you clone the project. That is correct. Once you have repository of a project on GitHub or any other way like Bitbucket, so you have the distributed means of that project. You have the full history of that project. It is available to you once you clone the project. So easily anyone can clone this project from here by copying the link. I'll show you how to do it just to give you the overview here. Unless the project is not private, you can easily clone any of the project. If you further go down, you don't need this brief history or something. So Git works around, so basically Git helps us maintain the project, make changes to the project. So we have the file system. So the file system is a working tree, a directory in your file system that is associated with the repository containing files and subdirectories. That is correct. When you have a folder, you have subfolders in that folder, and that is called a tree. For example, if I show you in this folder of mine, I have a coding project and a few of the files is there. If I type tree over here, so that will show you a tree, what subfolders, what files it has. I have a lot of files in the folder. That is why it's going to end. So that was all. And if we go after it, we have a repository. Repository is where we save, where we put our all files. That is called repository. A collection of commits branches saved in the Git directory. In the means of Git, a repository is of commits branches. Don't worry about what are commits and branches. I'll tell you about it. A commit. So a commit means you have taken a snapshot of your working directory at a certain point in time. Identify by a revision number. So a commit is when you are updating something, when you are changing something in your project, or maybe you are modifying any of the files in your project. So Git saves it by a commit. It's a snapshot, you can say, of that particular change you have made, and it provides a unique hash, a number for that commit. I'll show you everything in detail in practical, how we go about it, how we can do it. And there's this head term in our Git thing, the name for the commit that's currently checked out in means that the head will point towards the latest change in our project. For example, you have make changes in your project 4 times a day. So you have made the first change in the morning, then in the afternoon and the evening. So every timestamp, there will be a commit, and your head will be at the one which you have the latest. So without doing further ado, I'll quickly clone this repository to my local repository, which I have created this folder. And I'll before going into it, I'll show you a few of the Linux commands which we'll be using today. As I'm working on my Mac, you don't have to worry about. You can use it on Windows also. You can download Git Bash that is easily available. And yes, to forgot it. Um, how to install Windows. I've already told you, like, you can download Git from the official website. It is free, it is open source, so you don't have to pay for it. You can just easily download it from here. Now let's go to the terminal and I'll let you aware with few of the commands of the Linux commands. So first command is ls. By doing ls, you list out all the files or folders you have in your current directory. And if you do lsa, you get the hidden files of this folder. And there's a lot of commands like ls, you get all the permissions on the files. So these are some basic Linux commands that you should be aware of. I'll clear those. And now to give a proper walkthrough, I'll quickly create a new directory in this folder. So by Linux command, you can easily do it by kdir. That is called main directory. I'll do github. Okay. Now I need to go into the directory. So the Linux command for it is cd. Change directory to dev test. Now it is empty. So what I'll do is I'll quickly clone this repo which I have created on my GitHub, and I'll connect it to my local repository, and we'll make changes in that repository through Git. So I'll quickly clone its URL. You can copy the URL. You can use both the methods SSH or HTTPS. HTTPS will be going to today because it is the easiest, and you don't have to do all the configurations on your terminal. In SSH, you have to set few things from the GitHub itself first. Then you can use it. So yeah, we have created our remote repository on GitHub. and we have created a directory over here, and we will create some files here in our local repository, and then we will try to upload our files and directories to a remote repository, that is this. So first of all, to create few files, we will utilize the Linux commands. To create a file in Linux, you to touch, let's say I need to create a text file, let's say text.txt. So this will create the file. How can we check it? Through ls just. Now I want to add a one line of text in this file. Let's say we do it by echo. Echo is whatever you need to print, you can do. We'll say echo hello, it will print hello. Now I need to do same thing in a file. So how you can do it is hello test and the name of the file. So this will add this line in that file. So here's our file, and how can we check it? The command for this is head test. Yes, we have written this hello text content in this file. So let's see how it will work through Git if I want to upload this file, this whole directory onto my remote repository through Git. Let's say I have created this project and this has one file that is text.txt, and I need to put this whole directory onto my remote repository. So first of all, we will initialize a Git repository here. How can we do it? Um, Through Git init. This command is used to initialize a repository as a Git repository to maintain the connection between the local repository and the remote repository. Whatever command you need to do with Git, you will have to start it with Git. Every command of Git starts with Git. So as soon as I do it, you initialize the Git repository onto my repository. So if I do ls, then I can see that I have one file, and I have initialized this as a Git repository. So whatever changes I make to this file would be all tracked. And to give you a little walkthrough of the few of the commands we have in Git, I have the sheet pulled over. Here we have Git commands. So these are a few of the commands. You obviously have a lot of more commands here. And to give you a walkthrough to each of these commands, we will go to the cheat sheet. And yeah, so the initial commands are like to set up the user information and used across all repositories. So git config hyphen hyphen global user dot name. So this command is used to set when you are first of all setting up Git. What this command does is you tell it's the what is your username. You can type it in this format, and as soon as you hit this command, you are able to provide Git what is your name, and the same command can be used by providing it dot email. You will have to provide your email through it. Here you can provide the email, and this command will set you up the email for you. That is pretty much it about the setup. And the initial command that I told you, like git init, you can initialize an existing directory as a Git repository, which is what we does exactly here. Git clone. Git clone is used to clone a remote repository, that is this repository, to a local repository. Getting back to the commands. So yeah, git repo, you type git clone and you type the URL of the repository, and you can clone the entire repository onto your local repository. For example, if I have to show you, this is my profile and these all are my repository. Let's say I want to clone this repository. This is my repository in which I have made few changes, and this is a project that I run. It is a scraper project. So like if I want to clone this repository onto my local repository, you can easily do it by copying this code. And if I don't have to mess it up here, I can go to my previous repository by going here and let's say we create a test directory. Test git directory. Created, and let's go to the test git directory. We can clone it here for a safe purpose to not mess with the previous project. what we'll do is the command to clone a repository is git clone the URL of the repository. Same thing we will do here. Git clone URL that you copied from there. As soon as you hit git clone, you will be able to get all your files you have here on your local repository. That's the magic of Git. In your ls, you have the same folder, Google Maps Flipper, and when you to enter into that repository, you will be able to see all the files you have in here. Remember what we were talking about, the tree of a folder or directory that Git create. So you can easily view tree of any folder anytime by this command. So here is a tree. You can see you can see the current folder here, and you have this DEL folder, and in that folder we have all these files. Again, you have the another folder, and you have all these files. So this is a tree. This is a file structure that Git provides you. Without further ado, we'll be heading forward. We don't have any use of this repository, so we'll go back to the our repository. Maybe we can also delete it. To delete a complete folder, we have this command in Linux, that is rm for remove, r for recursion, like all the files we have in this directory, and obviously the directory name. Yeah, this is, as you can see, it is deleted. We also don't need this repository. Let's forget it. Let's go to our repository that we make towards. So we had only one file, and let's say I need to send the changes and the modification changes onto my remote repository. So first of all, the command to see if you have any changes in your Git repository, you can see it by Git status. Git status sees you that you don't have any commits yet and untracked files. You have this file chain. Git is tracking that you have this file and it has been added here. To add this file to get it tracked, currently it is not getting tracked, that the files you made, it is not getting tracked by Git. So whatever you do will be not tracked by Git unless you add this file in your Git system. That's when Git will be able to track these files. We had here like Git status show modified files in working directory, stage for your next commit. All these things we'll be learning in a very short while. What we need to know about the command is git add. As you can see here, it says untracked files. Use git add file to include in what will be committed. In order to make your files collaborate to your project, in order to make changes to your remote repository, you need to get your files tracked. Let's say it, and I need to get this file tracked. So what I'll do is I'll do git add the file name, or I can also do dot. Dot, what will do is it will do add all the files I have in this current directory into the git directory. So either you can do dot, either you can do the file name. So now if I check its status, you can see the file name is green and you have added this file. Now this file is getting tracked. What next? We need to commit it. We need to commit that we have added this file in our project, and what was the cause behind this file to be added to this project. Now we will tell Git like to take a snapshot of this file that we have added to the system and commit it, and so that we can share it to our remote repository. So let's see, we have here for the git commit. Yeah, we have git commit. dash m your message. So if you want to commit a file, you need to type git commit and dash m. Dash m is the flag for message. Like you need to give here a message what was the change was. And the expression says commit your staged content as a new commit snapshot. So what we are going to do is we need to commit this file. That is dash m. We need to commit this. At this point, what Git will do is Git will do a snapshot of our whole hierarchy, what we'll be doing up until here. So let's say we have added one file to our file system and now we are going to commit it. Now we are telling Git that you please take a snapshot of this. You track these changes in your history. So how can we do a commit is like git commit dash m your message. You can do initial commit and so one file changed, one insertion. Now Git is tracking your file system. Git has taken a snapshot where it's saying that you have made one change to your file and it says like initial commit. And now you can also check these, how many commits you have done, at what time you have done, and what were the previous commits, what were the commits after it. You can absolutely check everything with this command, git log. How amazing it is. So it is telling me all the things that the author was Harsh. This is my email. Date was Friday, Feb 28. The timing is also given, and the commit message is also given. So in Git log, you can track all your details whenever you did the commit, whenever who did the commit, what was the date and time. And also, you remember that we talked about this head thing. So currently, we have only one commit in our file system, and the head is where the head points always to the latest commit we do. So currently I have only one commit. That is the thing. Head is on our main, the first commit only. Now quickly we can go back. Git status, git log. We have learned, and the git in git status you can see what is happening on my branch. And as you can see here, that you are on main branch and nothing to commit. Just like you have not made any changes up until here. Whatever changes you made, you have committed those, and Git has taken a snapshot of those. Now the thing come in, like I have added my file, I have committed my file. Now I want to actually send my modified file onto my remote repository. So how can I do it? I have done the commit, and quickly I will check which branch I am on, that which is also shown here. We can also check which branch on the Git branch. We are on the main branch. This asterisk sign suggests that we are on the main branch. So now to add the remote repository to the local repository, we need to type this command git remote. Remote means the remote repository. Add origin. Origin means you are telling it to add this origin. Origin is this file that we created and the link to this file. So we are telling it to add git remote origin to our remote repository. So this is done, and now we will push our changes that we have done on our local repository to our remote repository. So how can we do it? We have this command git push dash u. Dash u takes the tracking. In the dash u flag, you have the tracking which you will be sending through your remote repository, through your local repository to your remote repository. So now you need to push tracking you have done origin. Origin is the name you have given to this remote repository URL. Now you want to push to git push dash u origin main. It is on our main branch. As soon as we done, our changes have been pushed, and we can check our tree. Let us get status. Your branch is up to date. If we git log commit we have, and now if when we do a refresher, we'll be able to see that we have this file. That is the magic of using it without the hassle. You can do it from your terminal itself, and it is very convenient. It is very easy. You're probably having overwhelming time because of these commands. These are very basic commands. Once you get your hands on these, you'll be able to add these commands on the. Okay, so now let's see some of the more commands that we have in Git. For example, these git add we have already seen, git status we have already seen, git reset we need to see, and git commit we have already covered. Git difference is nothing but the changes, the difference between when you have added the files and when you have not staged the files. So basically, stage means when you add a new file. For example, let's create a new file or readme.md, and the file is created, and let's say it is not staged yet, so I can stage it by adding this file. So now it is staged. So a lot of times we mistakenly add these files. So what for when we need to reset these? Now, if you see, you can get a status. You have already staged this file. For example, you have mistakenly do this and you need to get back to the previous version of it. So that's when the git reset commands comes in. Git reset commands unstaged a file while retaining the changes in your working directory. It unstaged this file as soon as you type the git reset one. Through git add, you stage a file, and if you need to unstage the file, you should type git reset and the file name. So now if you will do the status, it will show red because it is unstaged. So that is all about the git reset command, and we'll clear this now. Let's learn more about the branches. How can you create more branches? So different branches in a repository means like, for example, if you're building a big software, for example, let's take car rental one, you would need a lot of categories because the that app would have a lot of files and features. For example, the car rental would have a parking, the number of cars. So that's when the branches come into play. You cannot pull all of your features into one main branch. The development cycle recommends that you create separate branches of each of the feature that you're putting. So let's say the main branch, that is our main branch, consists of only one branch. It is main. So let's say I have created a new file in this directory. Let's call it script.py. Right. Searching for, let's say, create a Python file. The Python file has been created, and if we take it, it is not staged yet. Okay. So in order to make this file in another branch, you should do before it. Currently, we have created this file in the same branch. So we can delete it by rm and also.py. Now let's say the script.py file contains a feature of parking cars. So you don't need to hamper the main branch of your repository because let's say if your new file that has the feature of park cars has some bug, so if you push it to the main branch, you might end up seeing your repository get failed or burst because of some errors. So that's why the developer cycle recommends that you create a separate branch for each feature and then ship your changes. So to create a new branch, we can do this thing. Through Git branch, you can list all your branches will appear next to the currently active branch. That is Git branch. The star indicates that you are on the current active branch. So you can easily create a new branch by saying git branch name. So let's try to create a new branch. Let's say I have a login feature branch. So I will type login feature. Now if you do git branch, you will see two. And if you need to shift to the another branch, you choose Git checkout login feature. So now you are on the login feature branch, and you can see all of your changes have been into the login feature branch because from the main branch you have taken the exact same copy of this branch. So if you try to create this script file over here, so let's say touch script.py, the file is created, but if you now do git status, it will show you that file. But let's say I shift back to my previous file, it is which main. You will, okay, I'm trying to create a new branch here. So to check out to the main branch, we need to do git checkout main. So we are on our main branch. Now you will, if you do ls, you can see your all of the files are here. That is how you can make use of the git branch. Git checkout is same if you want to switch to the another branch and check it out into your working directory. GitLog, I have already explained that GitLog. Through GitLog, you can see all of your changes that have been commit. So now if I want to add all of these changes at once to our remote repository, I can just do git add dot to stage these files. Let's check if they are staged or not. Can you do user device so they are green, they are staged. Now I'll do git commit to actually commit those changes to ask git to take a snapshot of these changes. So I'll do git dash m minor updates. Let's say you list minor updates. And here it is. Let me to now get the status. Our work tree will be clean because we have already committed. And you see your branches ahead of origin main by one commit. That is true. Now we need to commit those changes. Get commit. No, we have already committed the change. We need to push these to send these into a remote repository. We can do this view origin main. So we have pushed these changes. If you do now git log, you'll be able to see that your next commit is live. All the details you can get here. Now you can also see that the head is on the main branch. So we added a new script from our different branch where we have committed changes on the main branch. So that is the thing to note here. Unless you commit any changes from one branch, the changes would not be there onto your another branch. So let's check out if our edits are available or not. So just do a refresh and you'll be able to see the new files. All the things are committed and you can also see the commit history from here. This is the same as you see here. And you will be also able to see that we have not yet pushed our branch. That is why the other branch we cannot see. So if we want to push our second branch also to the our main remote repository, we first need to check out to that branch. If we have only two branches, then git checkout command would work. It will take you to the previous branch. Whoever. Okay, it is not getting there. Let's now git checkout. What was our login picture? So we are on login feature. Now you can see I added two files over here, but I did not commit it there. So that's why I don't have these files available on my login feature branch. You can see GitLog. So GitLog has the login feature branch has only initial commit. It does not have other commit for obvious reasons because we did not push those changes. We did not commit those changes in our login feature branch. So if I want that, let's say I do a new file here. Let's say touch login.py. committed, and as you can see, our tree scan will check our commit is there. And now we will push our login feature branch for the first time to our remote repository. How can we do it? It's easy. Git push dash u the tracking, and now what we'll do is we'll do type the name of our branch that we need to push changes to. That is login feature branch. So git push dash u origin login feature. That's all. So yeah, now we have the starter conversation to our next topic, that is how we transfer our login feature to our main branch. Suppose that our main project is on our main branch, is it contains all of the features of the project, and now we have created another login feature separate branch to only ship the login feature to our main project. That's what we created the login feature branch. So the separate branch we only need to create when we have to work on a separate topic or a feature, and then we can ship and ask the maintainer to accept our changes. So that's what we're gonna do now. As soon as I committed those changes, login Python file, I can see a pop-up here that your login feature had recent pushes 3 minutes ago. Compare and pull request. So this is the procedure the GitHub and Git follows. If you have any new additions to your branch and you have pushed those changes onto your branch. So GitHub automatically detects that login feature branch has some recent new commits. Do you wish to compare and merge those changes onto your main branch? So as I am the maintainer of this project and I have access both to the branches, so I can compare and pull requests. So I will do compare and pull request. So I can see that add a title, login Python file, open a pull request. You can see that the login feature branch is going to merge with the main branch. So if you want to add any descriptions over here, you can add. For example, if you're shipping a very big feature over here, just like the dashboard feature or any other feature related to security, permissions, and others. So generally, developers used to write descriptions of the pull request. So you can now create a pull request from here, and it will analyze, and you have opened the pull request, and you have the option to merge the pull request. Then your login feature branch changes would automatically merge with the main branch. So confirm merge, and the pull request successfully merged and closed. So if you now go to your main branch, you'll be able to see this login Python file, which was not earlier on the main branch, but since we have created a pull request and we asked the main branch that I have a new feature and I want to merge this feature onto your main branch. So we have successfully merged it, and now you can see both of our branches over here. So if I now check out to my main branch, I would be able to see those all files. So this is like a caution feature here. Whenever you try to switch to your different branch, please make sure you have your work tree clean. If you don't have your work tree clean, this might get you in trouble or some errors might caught up because the file system has to be constructed. It needs to be staged or it needs to be proper. So the work tree is clean. Then now switch over to our main branch. That is A. Now if we do git status, our tree string and it will do ls, we'll be able to see, oh, yes. Okay, yes. Now the feature of the share and update comes here. So I will take you to the cheat sheet over here, and now we will learn about how we can share and update the details of our remote repository and the local repository. Since you have seen that this is our local system and we just shipped the feature of our login feature to our remote repository. The pull request has been successful. The changes are on our remote repository, as you can see all the files here, but it is not yet on our local file. Why? Because we need to pull those changes from our remote repository to our local repository. Because you don't know that login feature branch has been shipped by you or someone else. Let's suppose this is a project and it has 7 or 8 members in this project. We can easily add any member from here. You can do two collaborators and it will ask my password. And you can, when you type your password here, you will be able to add a collaborator from here. So get back to our code where we were. Yes, let's say that this is a project and it has 7 to 8 collaborators. Everyone is working on separate tasks. Someone is building the login feature, someone is handling permission, someone is handling the authorizations and other things. So they have opened a pull request that my login feature is complete from my end, and I am now able to, and I'm now confident enough to merge my branch into the main branch. So let's say there is another branch which is known as permission, and on permission branch another person is working. So in order to maintain the hierarchy, we need to pull the changes from our remote repository to a local repository. Every time when we try to code, we should check if there is any change on the remote repository. We should first make sure that the changes are on our local repository as well. So you can read about it a little more here, like share an update, git remote add. I've already explained that. So git remote add, you can share and update your local file system with the remote file system. You can add the remote file system to your local repository. Git fetch down all the branches from that git remote. Whenever you type git fetch alias we what we type it as origin and the URL. When you do git fetch origin, so the origin you have set, that origin's remote repository files would come to your local repository. Now git merge. You can also merge branches. You can push what we do, what we actually did previously. Git push alias that in our case is origin, and the branch name login feature on main. Transmit local branch commits to the remote repository branch commits. So what this command does is whatever the commits you have in your local branch, it will push those changes or commits to your remote repository branch that is over here. Now, this command is very crucial and important. Git pull. Pull means you are pulling the changes from your remote repository to your local repository. Fetch and merge any commits from the tracking remote repository. So let's try this. Now, one file changed. Login.py was not on my local file system previously, but it has now because a remote repository has a new file. As you can see here, previously we did not had the other files here, readme.mt, script.py and test.txt. Now we also have one new file login.py, and if we do now ls, you are able to see that login.py and it is the status the work greatly. So let's take a glimpse of how this Git system actually works in VS Code. So I have the short command where I can pull off virtual core studio system through this command. So I have my VS Code open. VS Code is more easy when you're working with Git. So if you now try to let's name the matter here, that works the same. If I create a new file over here, let's say new file permission txt. That is the same. Now you can see that as soon as I have created a new file, since my GitHub repository is getting tracked by Git, it has automatically detected that a new file has been added. And here you can see that changes, but these are untracked changes. The U means that the changes are untracked. But now, as soon as I do from here, see git status, I can see that permission.txt is an untracked file. Now you all already know that if I need to add track a file, I can do git add permission. Now you will see that this untracked will change to tracked. So the changes are staged and they have shifted to the state changes, and now the symbol is A, which means index added, means the file is getting tracked. Whatever changes you made into this file, it will be tracked. These will be tracked. So let's say I make a change over here. Hello. This is the tutorial. So again, you can see that Git has again tracked that file. You have already staged some changes, but your file is has again some changes. So you can also see over here. And if you do now again Git status, you'll be able to see that modified. It is modified. That's why you have the code over here that it is getting modified. And if you're now done with your changes, you can do git add permission.txt. Now these changes will be again modified and these are staged. Another benefit of using Visual Studio Code with Git is you don't have to really work on the terminal. Visual Studio Code is integrated with Git and it has the buttons feature. Let's say I type a new line. This is a new line. I feel uh, used to it, which we are absolutely doing. As soon as I hit save, again I would have the changes in permission. But now this time we will not be doing the changes with the terminal. Let's see. You have modified. Now to add these or state these changes, you just need to click the plus icon and your changes will be staged. Same thing you can also commit through the UI interface from here. You don't need to type git commit dash and blah blah blah. What you can do is after you have done the changes, you type your message over here. So added new file permission. The message has been typed, and if you do commit, the changes will be committed. You can now see here that your work tree would be clean. Your work tree is clean, and if you do git logs, you'll be able to see your latest commit. Sorry, you'll be able to see your new commit, added new file. That is now on the main. So that is how you can also use Git with the Visual Studio Code. So here comes our next topic, that is Temporary commits, temporary stored, modified, tracked files in order to change branches. That is very important. As you can see now that our main branch has a new addition file that is permission.txt, but the same file it is not there in our login feature branch. So in order to make those same changes to our login feature branch, or let's say we create a new branch. It, let's check out the permission. So we have all our files in our permission branch because we have created the branch from our main branch. So whatever files we have in the main branch will be also available in our permission branch. Let's say I am doing some changes in this file. Now I am on the permission branch. The Virtual Studio Code also shows you which branch you are on through this feature. Sorry. So let's say you make some changes through this branch. Let's say you create a file called authentication.txt and you type something here. For example, this is a authentication. We save those changes and you can see that you have some untracked changes. Now, if you do add those changes and you wish to push those changes, you have a feature over here. For example, let's say you are on your permission branch and you are working on a feature and simultaneously someone has shipped some feature onto the main branch. But you need to have all those changes that have been in the main branch to your project also so that all your feature can work together and you can also ship your feature to that main branch. So if you have added this authentication file from your end, but you already know that this authentication file would not have in the main project file. So here comes our few more commands of the Git, which are temporary commits. You can do stash. This is the command called git stash. Save modified and staged changes. I have stage these changes and let's say I need to pull more changes from the main branch since other developers have shipped their changes to that main project. So what I can make use of this git stash command, which will store my changes in a temporary memory so that I can take the latest pull from our main branch or main project branch and then add the same file from the temporary branch and then ship my complete project with my feature that I was working on, that was authentication. So let's clear the terminal a bit and let's do git stash. So what it will do is whatever changes I have in my working directory, it will remove those changes. Let's see. It has removed those changes. So these changes have been shifted to a temporary file which you cannot see. It's just in the memory. But you cannot see how many stashes you have made. You can make multiple stash to protect your memory. So if you want to see all those stash that you have, you can do. Let's see from here. You can do git stash list. List the stack order of stashed files. It will show you in a stacked manner. Let's say git stash list. So currently you have stash 0 from permission, that is the permission branch. This much bytes added new file permission. And let's say your main branch has some changes, you can make it. Let's say I create a new file from here. Let's say I drop a new file from my downloads. Let's say yeah, this PDF. PDF. The file. I comment those changes. Now I have some changes in my main branch. Let's say uh, any developer has makes changes and he was able to merge the request with the main branch, and this is an important feature of that branch. So since I had some changes in my working directory, I was working on a feature. Simultaneously, I realized that some of the feature has have been shipped, but since I was working on my file, I could not just um, ship my changes, commit my changes half of the way. So I use the git stash command to save my changes in a temporary file so that I can pull the latest from the main branch. So let's pull the latest from the main branch. Git pull origin main. I've gotten some error. Yeah. Well, there's no tracking information for the current branch. Please specify which branch you want to merge with. See git pull. So that is obvious. Since my branch is not there on the remote repository, it is saying that please specify which there's no tracking information for the current branch. So first of all, I need to push this branch of mine to my remote repository. How can I do that? Okay. So I have pushed my latest branch, and now I can take access from here. So you can see it has two pushes. As you can see, we have three branches. Now I can take the latest one. Okay. Two, three. Already up to date. To compare pull request, create pull request. You can also see what all changes were there. Two pluses will merge this branch again. And now we will try to pull. Right. Now you were able to get the changes. So I did all these changes. I showed you errors also because I wanted to get the real experience, the practical experience to you so that we can get all the things aligned. Now if you do ls, you'll be able to see the document we have over here. So why all these things happen, why I got these errors? It is because that my permission branch was only there in my local system. It was not there on my remote repository that is here. So I needed to push my local changes to my remote repository, which I did, which was the permission branch. I merged it with my main branch, and now all the things are aligned clearly. I have the latest pull of my main project. Now let's take back those changes which I was working on the authentication file. So how can we do that? Let's go to the commands and we can do git stash pop, which says write working from top of stack. So when we did git stash list, you will see that on the top of the stack, so you must have studied data structures and algorithms. So you have a stack. So if you want to take out from the stack the very first value, so you need to do a pop. So how can we do it? The changes that we were working on, I need to get them back. So we need to type the command git stash pop. Now you can see dropped references. And if you see now git stash list, there won't be any changes because our work tree is clean and I have gotten my file back which I was working on. So that is a very important feature that you have in Git. Without beholding, without getting your changes to a garbage or anywhere else, or you can still work your changes and get the latest pull from your main project by using the stash command. This gets very helpful when you are working on a lot of features and a lot of developers are working on the same project. So you can make use of this command. This is very helpful. And since we now have our file back, there's change, say, and we can do this, git add, artist drag, we can get comment dash m. You probably be knowing that this man is typing on the command line when when he has the feature to just click. I'm more like a terminal person, and you should also be in the long run. So we can do authentication files added. As always, you can do git log to check all the changes you have done. Now you can see the head is on the permission branch for obvious reasons. Now I can do git. Now I have to push changes on my permission branch. The branch I was working on, the changes would not yet be reflected on the main branch. You cannot see the changes over here because I have pushed changes on my permission branch. If you go to the permission, you would be able to see the authentication which was committed now. So yeah, we have learned a lot about Git today. What is Git? What is version control system? How Git works? How Git installs in your computer? How you can use it with VS Code? We have learned about many Git commands. For example, first of all, the Git log, and how can you remove some files from the file system, and to set up the Git repository, you can do git initialize, git clone, and we have learned about the various commands where we did the setup, and we have learned about the stage and snapshot command, that is git status, git add. These are basic commands, and you have learned about how you can make changes to your branches and forth, how you can merge the branches, how can you check out to the other branch, how can you share and update data or files between your branches. So you can do it via these commands. And if you have these temporary commits, is you can do from git stash list, git stash pop, and other things.